Hell yeah.
All right, did I see what?
So there's a documentary that came out several years ago, 10 years ago, more, 10, 15 years. Anyway, it's called Exit Through the Gift Shop, right?
Okay.
And the documentary was made by the infamous artist Banksy.
Banksy.
Have you ever heard of Banksy?
Black guy? Black rapper?
No.
Oh.
Banksy is a British dude.
Okay.
And as far as we know, he is like anonymous. Like he had all these like pranks where he would break into museums and post up like fabricated forgeries of famous works of art.
Okay.
But he would make some sort of funny like alteration to them.
Okay.
And he actually broke into Disney World
Dang.
and installed like some sort of mannequin in one of the rides. Like he would do stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And to this day, yeah, like I don't think he's ever been arrested. He actually, well, one of the things, what did he do? He printed like a bunch of fake British pounds with Princess Di on them instead of Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, okay.
And they were so good, like he's like, you could spin these and people wouldn't know. Like he went in and spin them just. But anyway, so he's famous, but he's like also probably the most famous unknown person. Like
Right.
he still has his
Anonymity.
anonymity, supposedly. And, you know, there's still speculation who he is. And he kind of, I mean, everyone's forgotten about him. But he was
Yeah.
really big about 10, 15 years ago when he was doing all these pranks. And who knows what he's doing now. But the guy's like one of the most gifted artists and fabricators,
Yeah.
forger, like
Right.
he can do anything. Like he's got superpowers as far as like making stuff.
Yeah.
He can forge anything,
Dang.
right?
Kind of like Catch Me If You Can.
And they actually, not so much in like his persona, but like in like works of art, documents, whatever, like what he can print. But yeah, I guess, you know, similar to that,
Yeah.
right?
Forging of some type.
Right. So, but he uses his powers for good, and they actually had like an art exhibit for him. But
Oh, nice.
so there was a bunch of other guys that were sort of in his sort of sphere of influence, or what I call doing kind of similar stuff.
Yeah.
Doing street art, doing guerrilla art, doing
Yeah.
civil disobedience art, like
Right.
you know, graffiti
Yeah.
but trying to take it to a high level. And so
Yeah.
a lot of this was happening around LA and whatnot of people like, and you probably see it going up or down Melrose of like
Yeah.
really fancy graffiti and stuff. Mm-hmm. People doing that. So some guy, this French guy, who owned like a, you know, clothing shop in Venice or something, started like following these guys around and like videotaping it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and of course he finds some of the lower. There's another guy who was called Space Invader,
Okay.
which is like a double meaning because he would like post Space Invaders, like the
game.
like video game, like
Yeah.
the little aliens, like
Yeah.
up on walls, like they were shooting, breaking stuff.
Oh, okay.
But also like he's invading public space with his art, right?
Right.
So there was that guy. So these guys like, and they would go move all around. I mean, they were trying to spread their art everywhere, and so no one could figure out like where they're from, who they are. Like
Yeah.
they're all, because what they're doing is, you know, illegal on a level, right?
Right.
So this one guy was like documenting these guys, and they're like, yeah, you can film us, just don't like show our identities. There's another guy, I forget what his name, but there's that famous poster that had the face on it that said obey? Do you remember obey? And it became
Yeah.
So that's actually Andre the Giant's face
Oh, wow.
from something.
Yeah.
It's just like how like
Maybe from Princess Bride?
yeah, but it's just like how they used like a Kirk, Captain Kirk mask
For Halloween?
For Halloween,
Yeah.
you know, sort of how like,
Michael Myers, yeah.
you know, oh, this works perfect, just paint, you know, like altered a little way.
Right.
So that was, you know, and so the obey guy was like posting that. He was just like, they were tagging stuff.
Yeah.
And that's, some of those guys were just about tagging, like, I was here.
Right.
Like Kilroy was here, like way back in the day.
Right.
You know, they just want to say, I was here. And they're trying to do it all over the place. Berlin Wall, the Wall of Israel, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So this guy would like film all these guys. And so he finally got together with Banksy. And Banksy had to end up
Collab of the century.
Right. So Banksy ended up having to take over this documentary from this guy. But along the way, he was like, the guy that was filming all this was like, he learned how to do it.
Yeah.
So he started doing it. It's like, why not? I guess. Like
The graffiti art.
the guy that was doing the documentary
Right.
learned how to do, who I forget, it's the French guy from Venice.
The Banksy forgery art.
No, not Banksy. Well, he's not Banksy, but he was learning how to do this stuff.
Okay.
Maybe you call forgery art or
Okay.
graffiti, whatever.
Yeah.
So he started doing it. And so Banksy had this idea, well, let's like turn him into the next Banksy,
Right.
right? And like, cause it was like easy to turn out this kind of pop art.
Yeah.
And as a joke,
Yeah.
like not like this guy is, never done it. He doesn't have any serious artist skills, but if you know how to go to like Kinko's or a print shop, like in Photoshop, and then get some spray paint or some glitter, like you can just
Right.
make stuff up. And people will think, oh, so they put on this like fake real art exhibit for this guy who didn't know what he was doing to see like if people, how they respond. And they totally like bought it. And they're like, oh my God, this guy's the next Banksy. And Banksy's like, I can't believe like how dumb, like I thought people were dumb before. But,
Right. To even
And-
like my stuff.
yeah, and
Now they-
so
now they like the
this
fake
guy
version
was,
of my stuff.
so it was, they hyped this guy up
Yeah.
and they were selling like the shit
Right.
for like, tons of money.
Yeah.
And
Which
so,
is crazy.
Which is crazy.
People make money in art. Like
So
that.
but this guy, the reason he met all these people was because he was doing this documentary.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the promise of like, oh, I'll put out this documentary. So he's, wanted to kind of screen it for Banksy. Like, here's what it is. And it's basically this like high-powered montage of just like clip, 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 like the whole movie, like for 4 hours of nothing but like little clips of stuff with
Man.
like, and the guy has no idea what he's doing. And so they found out that basically he had some sort of childhood trauma. I guess he lost his parents or something.
Yeah.
And he
Switching.
was using like video because he was like afraid of like losing his family or whatever. So
Okay.
he wanted to document everything
Yeah.
and his way of like holding on to his family or his life,
Interesting.
right? So it was like he was compulsively documenting stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so he had so much footage, like it was impossible to go through.
Mm-hmm.
But Banksy was like, okay, like, you've got a problem. Let me put
me
this
help
into
you.
like a movie.
Into a narrative form.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a very interesting documentary because of
So
that.
it's a documentary about them making a documentary.
Right. One of
Wow.
those.
What's it called?
Inception. It's called Exit Through the Gift Shop.
Exit through the gift shop.
So, you get it.
What's the phrase? What does that mean?
basically,
Like for the film.
well, it's basically how like the duality between art and commercialism.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, we're doing this for like artistic expression. Give us money, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you enjoyed all these wonderful works of art that you could never afford, but exit through the gift shop, buy yourself like that,
Right.
$80 print
Yeah.
or
something,
stuffed animal, like
found something at the end of it.
support, yeah. Like it's not just free to look at, like,
Yeah.
or we want to make a little money.
Got it.
Everybody wants to make a little money. I think
Yes,
that's
of
the other
course.
point,
Yeah.
And it doesn't quite get into the, somewhat, I don't know if you want to call it corrupt, but dubious world, like art world
Yeah.
of, like, not necessarily the forgeries,
Yeah.
but how you can, inflate someone's, reputation or value like
Yeah.
that, and how like the art dealerships control that, and they're basically just printing money because like they can make this art, like which anyone can make on a certain level.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you have one person saying that's $1 million painting,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so, apparently, if you're really rich, this is a way to hide assets
Yeah.
because
Isn't that
you
crazy?
can buy and sell art, and it's a way of like getting around taxes, hiding assets,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
And it increases in value.
Yeah, supposedly, but it's sort of like the what is it? The NFT. It's sort of like
Except it's physical.
but yeah, except it's,
That's how everybody was trying to
except
sell the
it's real.
NFT.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but you're going to have a digital code
so
that says it's original.
The
You're like,
NFT
what
is
the
a digital version of a real forgery or just a fabrication. I mean, that's the whole thing about art. It's like, what is art? Well, art is whatever you think it is, right? And how valuable is that painting? As valuable as you think it is. And the same thing goes with NFTs.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Because whatever you think it is, how valuable it is, whatever you think it is.
Yeah.
So
Art.
you get into some crazy situations where it's very hard to determine the value and price for something.
Right.
And then if that's all up for grabs, there's all sorts of little funny games you can play.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, that conversation about what art is and stuff is like, it's a very like, oh shit, that was 10 minutes.